In this lesson, you'll be able to represent each of the trigonometric ratios as a comparison of sides and hypotenuse of a right triangle and apply them to find missing side lengths of a triangle. So we'll start off looking at the definitions of what these trig ratios are. The three most common ones we'll be using are sine, cosine, and tangent. The sine, the abbreviation is just SIN, it's still pronounced sine, and it is the ratio of the sine of an angle is the ratio of the side opposite over the length of the hypotenuse. We'll see how to name these sides in the next part of this lesson. The cosine, abbreviated COS, is the ratio of the length of the adjacent side over the length of the hypotenuse. Okay, we'll see how to set up these fractions, how to name these sides. The tangent, abbreviated TAN, the tangent of the angle is the ratio of the side opposite the angle over the side adjacent to the angle. Now let's see how to name these sides. And your extra note, how to label the sides or name the sides with respect to, in this case, it's going to be with respect to angle A over here, this angle right here. In the next example, it'll be with respect to angle B, and you'll see how the names change. It will never be with respect to the right angle in the right triangle. Okay. So the first one we're going to do is called the hypotenuse. A lot of people know what the hypotenuse is, and different ways to know. The hypotenuse, number one, is always the biggest side of a right triangle. You might see that this is the biggest side. Or another way is that if you highlight the sides, I'm going to highlight them in red, of the right angle, this side and this side make that right angle. These are really called the legs, and we'll call them leg opposite and leg adjacent in a minute. These are the legs right here, so this other side is the hypotenuse. Another way to remember it is the hypotenuse is opposite this right angle. So here's this right angle in this corner. Opposite that right angle is this hypotenuse here. Okay, so there's a few different ways to remember, to realize which side is the hypotenuse. If you need any extra help, let me know. Alright, so now with respect to this angle, there's a side called opposite. Opposite this angle, not the right angle, but the one we're referring to in this part of the problem, or these notes. We're referring to angle A. Which side is opposite angle A? Well, it's this side right here, and we call that the opposite side, or the opposite leg. And then the last one, I always do hypotenuse first, then the side opposite, and then the last one is called the adjacent side, the one that's left over. If you've got these first two right, the adjacent side is right there. Now if we look at the next part, with respect to angle B. So now we're talking about this. What happens? What changes? Well, the hypotenuse is still the hypotenuse. What changes is the sides opposite and adjacent. Now opposite this angle is side CA over here. And so the last side is always the adjacent if you got the first two right. Okay, so basically when the angle changes, the opposite and the adjacent sides change. Okay, so now you're going to try a little set of problems, a little quick check here. And they look like this. Here's number one, and we'll check your answers later. Okay? That's the end of part one of this trig lesson. Good luck on those. We'll check them when you're done.